Hello, welcome back. My name's Leonie, aka Stitching Noni, and I would like to welcome you to the next episode of my cross stitch journey. This is my channel all about cross stitch. Pretty much that's all we talk about on this channel. Occasionally I might mention a book if I've found something that's really exciting and you think you might like to read it. But pretty much I am here just to talk about what I've been doing in the cross stitch world. Today it is Saturday the 9th of May 2020 and my last video was actually on the 15th of April, so we have a little bit to talk about. There's a few whips, there's some finishes. There's no starts in this video. I'm actually doing a Stitch Mania video which will have all my Stitch Mania starts, so that stuff all sitting behind me will be talked about in the next one. I will try and do that today if I can while I'm on a roll, if I ever get this one recorded, of course that is. So welcome. If you're new, welcome to my channel, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back again. I hope you enjoy what I've got to show, and if I enable you, that's even better. Always happy to enable anybody who would like to stitch what I'm stitching. I have a few things to show you this time round. So I have got, what did I write down? I did write down, I've worked on about 9 whips. And I've actually got 5 finishes, so I'm really pleased. And we'll talk about starts in the next video, as I mentioned. So, as I mentioned, I've got notes here, so I'm just going to quickly flick across here to have a quick look, because I'm going to try and stay on track today if I can. So, in April, I didn't have any starts. I ended up having 3 finishes for April. And is that right? 3 finishes for April, yes, and then I've had 3 more finishes so far for May. So I've done a total of 5 finishes since I last had my video, because I showed you the first finish for May in my last video, which was that little bold blooms one. Since then, I have worked on Father Frost, which I showed you in my last video a little bit, so I did work on him. I've worked on Cinderella, I've worked on Forever and Ever again, I've worked on Goat Load, I've worked on quite a bit. So what I tried to do in April was I had set up to do a number of large goals, 1,000 stitches or more on some of my projects, so I got all of those done. And I was also trying, and I'm still trying to get a number of finishes done, even if they're small, they're a finish, to try and counteract the 20 starts I'm doing in Stitch Mania. So I would really ideally like to finish the year out with either more finishes than I have starts or an even number. I don't really want to go into 2021 with having even more whips, but we'll see how we go. What else can I tell you? I can tell you nothing, because I should just show, shouldn't I? That I will show rather than tell. So first whip. So the first whip I'll do whips first, then I'll show you the whips that are now finishes. So the first whip we're going to show you is Father Frost. Now Father Frost is a Joan Elliott, and I did show you Father Frost in my last video. This is the design. So I'm doing the big design. There is a smaller design with this as well. This comes out of the Cross Stitch Gold magazine issue 97, so quite a while ago. In fact, Cross Stitch Gold doesn't exist anymore, but it was a number of years ago that I pulled that out. I started Father Frost on the 1st of July last year, and that was for Joan Elliott July. So during that time, while we were watching the Tour de France, I was working on the man. I have somewhere in here I've gone slightly awry, so I've left that for now. And last time I worked, I came back to the polar bear, and I had finished his face when I last showed you. But I will show you a picture. You will see while I'm talking that there is a before picture, and you will now see where he's at. So I'm just going to fold him so that we're just looking at the bear, because that's all I've really done. So as you can see, because you would have seen that I have done a bit more of that, and I've started going up into the sleeve. So I think he's looking quite cute. I love that face. He's so cute. So the face I had completed as of when I showed you on my last video, you saw the face. Sorry, I feel a bit croaky today. So basically I've just done, I had to do green stitches for a challenge. I can't remember what one it was, but it was one of the challenges. So I did some more green stitches, and I had to do some purple stitches for a challenge too. Probably magical stitches, I can't remember. And then I worked up into the sleeve. So he's looking quite cute. This is on a Colour Cascades fabric called Silver Springs. And it is a 32 count opal Lugana. So this is where he's at now. Absolutely adorable. Absolutely love him. So I'm not sure whether I will... Oh, I've got bits of fluff on him from the Q-Snap stuff. Not sure when I will bring him out again. He'll definitely come out in July for Joan Elliott July. Whether I bring him out before that, of course, we won't know unless a challenge comes up and I need to bring him out before that. So in all, I had a goal for April to do 1,000 stitches on him, and I completed 1,105 stitches, so I was really quite pleased about that. And I had him out for another 3 stitching sessions since my last video, and managed to get another 798 stitches in at that point in time, which was basically the finishing that wreath and the sleeve. That's all I can tell you about that one. So yeah, so that was that one. So that was Father Frost by Joan Elliott. I also had out again, because you saw it in my previous video, was Forever and Ever by Cottage Garden Sampling. So this is Forever and Ever. Absolutely love this, adore this. This is one of my Whipco challenges, blocks, whatever you want to call it. So, and the Whipco goal for this is to finish it. I'm hoping I'll get it finished this year. We'll see how we go. It was drawn in April, so I did work on it in April, but obviously I didn't finish it in April. So where it's at the moment, now I will put in a before pic so you will see. I managed in April, I managed to do 1,287 stitches on this, and I did another 623 stitches since you've last seen it. I should have ironed this. It's starting to look very wrinkled, but this is where it's at the moment. So obviously I had done the chickadee. I'd finished the chickadee off when you saw him last time. So this time round, I'm just going to fold it a bit. This time round I worked on finishing, doing some more greenery in here. I did greenery, yeah, greenery there, and then we started coming around, and guess what, really pleased, managed to get that to line up, considering, you know, that was done on its own before, and then this one came up and it all lined up, and I'm like, yes, so happy. This is stitched on 36 count Edinburgh feldspar by Picture This Plus. I'm still thinking I've chosen the wrong fabric for this. When I first picked it up, I thought it was the right fabric, but the more I'm doing it, the more I'm sort of thinking maybe not. But I think at the end of the day, it'll look quite nice. I think it'll still be fine. So I'm quite pleased with that. So that was, what was that? What was I going to say about that? I've forgotten now, doesn't matter. So I started that in January last year, and still working on it. My next plan is, now that I've done here, I'm going to work up probably into this bit here, because there's some good bulk stitching hopefully into there, and then I'll come back and I'll work up that way. I'd like to get into that, but I want to actually do some of this horrible stuff first, because those flowers are so big. So I'll try and get into the horrible flower first before I come and do the bit I really want to do. But I'm pleased with that. You know, 1,200 stitches on that in a month is really good. It's awesome. I also pulled out Goat Load again. Now I think I had Goat Load out. Yes, I did. I did have Goat Load out. So you saw a bit of Goat Load in my last video. So you'll have a before pic of what it looked like at the end of, well, when I stitched on it for my last video. This is also a Whip Go project, and it is a finish. So far it's not been drawn, so with a bit of luck, if I can keep going on this, I will hopefully have another box ticked. But so this is Plum Street Samplers Goat Load, and before pick, this is where it's at now. So all I did was finish the hill, put all the little bits in and do that. And that was another, however, 621 stitches. So all up I did 1291 stitches for the month on Goat Load, which I'm really pleased. So, yes, finished the hill and added a stalk. Yep, that was it. But it's very close to being finished. Very, very close to being finished now. So that's that flower stalk there. So I've just literally got to do these flowers now. So it might very well come out or stay out. And I might just, that might be my next whip to finish, because that would be awesome. That one I started on the 25th of March last year, so to finish that would be really great. It's on 36 count Edinburgh Oaken, which is a pitched this plus fabric, and it's stitched in all of the called for threads. Okay, next one. Cinderella came back out, or actually Cinderella stayed out. Guess, was she in my last one? Can't remember if I had her. No, I didn't. You didn't see her in my last one. I'm pretty sure you didn't. So anyway, Cinderella's out. So Cinderella, I have a big goal on her. My thing is to stitch on her for 25 days this year. So far I have done 6 stitching days on her, so I've got a few more to go yet. She is a Whip Go project, and her Whip Go goal is the 25 days. So I've got 5 blocks of 5 days. So I've completed 1 block on my Whip Go board for that, which is good. So far, I have completed 870 stitches all up on her. I need to do more, obviously. This is, you'll see, oops, nearly dropped her. You'll see a picture of where she was at before, but there's no real change except that I've put an extra, I'll put this behind it. I have put in an extra 305 stitches, which was literally just in that bit there. So not a lot. I'm doing this for the Sane Stitches fairy tale sale, and it's also my D30 daily 30 cross stitch journal group. It's one of the scavenger hunt whips. So this will never get finished, certainly not in the short term. It will be in the long term, but not in the short term. But yes, we're getting there. So I did manage to get 1 prompt for my scavenger hunt done with this, and halfway through another one, so I'll bring it back out again. I'd like to try and actually do a couple of days in May on it, but we'll just see how we're going. She's getting there. 870 stitches. Be nice to have said I've done 1,000 stitches, but I didn't quite get that far. So 305 stitches was all I managed in April on her, which is not really going to get me very far if that's all I'm doing, but you know. She's getting there. She is stitched on 32 count Opal Lagana Stormbringer, which is a colour Cascade fabric, and she's stitched as charted in DMC and obviously Cryonic when we add the Cryonic in. What next? Okay, that's it. So that's all. That's the whips. So the whips that are now classed as finishes. Buckle in, because here we go. And these are in order of finishing. So the first one I finished was Holly Word Art. Or, yeah, it is called Holly Word Art. And that is an Ursula Michael chart. I pulled this out because I needed something for Semi-Sane Stitches Alphabet Soup H. So I decided Holly Word Art. That'll work. I'll put a before pic of what it looked like before I pulled it out, and you will now see what it looks like. It is all finished, and I'm really, really pleased to have actually finished this. In the end, it actually didn't take too long to finish it. It's one of those things, you know, you put it away, and then when you pull it out, you think, oh, actually, it's not that bad. I can finish it. So here it is, all finished. So that's all in gold, a little bit of gold, but the rest of it is all DMC as charted. Oh, the only change, I did have a change because I didn't have one of the greens, and so I just substituted it for, I don't know what it was, 502 or something I substitute, but essentially it's basically as charted. So I'm really pleased with how that finished up, and I've still got obviously quite a bit more fabric left of this. So this is a Jodery fabric, and it is 28 count Opal Brittany woolen mittens from Jodery Designs. It was one of her fabric of the month a few years, last year or year before, last year? Might have been last year or the year, no, it must have been the year before, because I started this in 2018. There you go. So I started this on the 22nd of April 2018, and I finished it on the 24th of April 2020. So finish number 1 to show you. So that was actually finish number 6. So I've missed one. What have I done? I've missed one. I missed one? No, that's right. That's right. Yep, that was finish number 6 for this year. So finish number 7 for this year is Spring Tulips. I have finally finished this. So I have been using this for my daily 30 on and off for the last couple of months. And we managed to finish it on the 26th of April this year. It was started back on the 19th of January 2016. Yeah. So I'm really pleased it's finally done. So this comes out of the Cross Stitcher issue number 199 from May 2008. And I forgot to tell you where that Holly Word Art came from. So the Holly Word Art came from the World of Cross Stitching issue 223. But Spring Tulips comes from Cross Stitcher, the UK Cross Stitcher magazine, issue 199. It was a free gift at the time. And here it is, all done. So the before pic will be here. And basically all I had to do this time round was to finish off this tulip and to finish that and to finish the vase and then finish off the back stitching. And it's done. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. No idea whatsoever. I may just frame it, or I might turn it into a little pillow. Don't know. I'm pleased. Finally finished. It was one of those ones that I really had to force myself to stitch. But it's done. Which is good, because that's what we want. We want it done. This is a much happier finish. The next finish I had, I really enjoyed stitching on. Absolutely loved every minute of stitching on this. And we're talking about Have Ye Any Wool from With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. Absolutely loved this design. Absolutely loved it. So I pulled it out the other day. I spent 3 days doing it. Yes, 3 days stitching on it and managed to complete 787 stitches on it for a finish. So I wasn't that far off finishing it when I put it away last time. It was started on the 1st of April 2019 and it was finished on the 3rd of May 2020. And here it is. This is stitched on 36 count Edinburgh Oaken from Picture This Plus, and it is stitched as charted. So all done. Very, very pleased with that. Absolutely loved it. Those sheepies are just so gorgeous. Unfortunately, the swirls don't show up very well because I wasn't thinking when I was doing that. I probably should have fussy cut the thread and got the darker bit, but at the end of the day, it's fine. It is what it is, but I'm really pleased it is finished. It is looking very, very pretty. Very happy with that. The little stars at the top are the same thread as what is in her dress and his stripy pants. So what I did to discern, to make sure that you sort of could see the difference, is her dress I went across, and his pants, now the darker stripe is a different thread. Actually, sorry, hang on, wait a minute. Think, wrong. Start again. Forget what I just said. Those three are the darker stripe. That's what it was. So her dress and the lighter stripes in his pant are the same. And his pants I went down so that we had stripes. Her skirt I went across. And then when I did these, what I did is I made sure I was using the slightly different colour part of the thread so that I could have a difference. So I used the too dark and the light in the centre. But I think they're absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And when I did their cheeks, wood rose, the gassed wood rose was their cheeks, but I made sure I just used the lightest part. So she got a slightly darker, because obviously Lady has a bit of blush. So I gave her a little bit of a slightly darker cheek to his. He got a really light cheek. But I loved it. I was so happy doing this. It was really, really lovely. It was almost sad to finish it because it was such a sweet thing to stitch. I really, really, really seem to like doing 1/2 on 36 count, as you will see in my next video. But I'll leave that for the next video. So, as I mentioned, started on the 1st of April 2019 and finished on the 3rd of May 2020. I then pulled out something that should have been finished a little while ago and is now finished. So I started this chart last year in October when my husband had to have his operation, and I started it so that I could sit. He had to go to the hospital for 2 days in a row. So the first day he had to go and have the colonoscopy and endoscopy, and the second day he had to go and do the operation. So I was sitting all afternoon on the first day at the hospital. The second day I worked from home, dropped him off at the hospital, worked from home for a couple of hours, and then went back to the hospital, and he ended up having to stay in overnight anyway. But I spent the 3 days that he was essentially in hospital starting this and stitching on this. And this is I Do from Bent Creek, and my aim was to have it finished for our wedding anniversary. I finished it on our wedding anniversary. It's now finished. So you can't actually see that. Okay, let's just see if we can. It's actually quite hard to show. It doesn't seem to want to show up very well on camera, but in real life it is definitely seen. You can see it. Actually, I'll get somehow we'll work it out. I should have bought something white in. Okay. Bear with, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's see if this works. A little bit better. So I've actually used the colours that we had in our wedding. So not so much the dark, but my dress was pink and sort of had a white overlay over the top of it. So I used a pink, and we had gold as an accent in some of the stuff that we had on the tables and the balloons and things. So I used a gold silk for that. I then did gold petite treasure braid for the rings, and then did our initials in the pink and the wedding date in the gold. And then I added this. This is not in the design. I added it because I needed an extra 18 stitches to do my prompt for magical stitches. No, for daily 30 I needed 200 for daily 30, so I managed to get 202 stitches in to finish my daily 30 prompt, and then that was it. It's a shame you can't really see it. I might actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll put a photo up of it finished, because it actually shows up better in the photo. It's just the lighting's not showing it. But I was actually really pleased that I managed to finish it on my wedding anniversary. It was supposed to be finished before my wedding anniversary, but that's okay. It's finished on my wedding anniversary. So we started that on the 9th of October 2019, and I finished it on the 6th of May 2020. It is stitched on 32 count Opal Belfast by Silver Springs, one of my favourite colours, from colour Cascade. And I used Silks for You, so all of that, they were all my own colours in basically the Silks for You that I had in my stash. And I did use Weeks Dye Work Whitewash for the little bit of white that's in there, and that's it. That was it. One more finish. Now, I pulled this out. This is a free gift from the World of Cross Stitching. This is another one I started back in 2016 when I was doing Crazy January Starts. A bit similar to Stitch Mania, but it was Crazy January Starts. I started this on the 16th of January 2016, and I finally finished it on the 7th of May 2020. And I'll tell you what, I hated every minute of this. I should have UFO'd this because this, seriously, I hated it. But it's done now. And here we are. So, before pick somewhere. You'll see a before pick. But, essentially, I had just some of that done and some leaves. So, I've stitched the rest of that. It's horrible. I was going to put beads in. In the end, I just said, you know what? I'm doing French knots. So, they said to do French knots in 2 threads with 1 wrap. So, I did that here. No, don't like that. I went back to my way of doing French knots. 1 thread, 2 wraps. Much happier. The back stitching in this is the worst back stitching in history. The way they made to do it, yeah, it's horrid. Absolutely horrible. There was splitting stitches, you know, all over the place. But at the end of the day, it is now done. They provided a card with it as part of the free gift. So I will pop it in a card, and I guess at some point I will give it to somebody or send it to my mum for Mother's Day or something. But at least I've knocked off another one of those horrible little whips that I started. So I was actually pleased in the end to have done it, but I just didn't enjoy doing it. I used it for my daily 30, and I just powered through it the other day and just went, you know what, just do it. Just get it done. So that was actually called the Edwardian Country Lady. No, was it Edward? Yeah, Edwardian Country Lady's Diary is the name of the design. I just call it my pain in the backside. I managed to finish that off in the end in 7 days, because I was doing like 50 stitches and chucking it back in the cupboard. So I really did not enjoy it. But never mind. Okay. So that's it. So that is my whips and my finishes. So that's about a month's worth of work. My total stitches for April were 7,080 stitches, which is pretty good. Not bad. Pleased with that. And so far to date, as of last night, I have stitched 1,935 stitches for May. Year to date, I've done 25,132. Gee, they add up, don't they? Isn't that awesome? I've had 8 starts so far, which includes the 5 that you'll see in my next video, and I've had 10 finishes. So I'm doing, so far, I'm balancing that, you know. So we're getting there. Whip Go. So with Whip Go, we have now finished 3 blocks on my Whip Go board. So I have done 1 block, which was Cinderella, for 5 days of stitching. So that's done. I have finished Hollywood Art, which was a block. And I've now finished Have Ye Any Wool, which was a block, as a goal to finish. All 3 of those blocks had been called. So all 3 have been marked off. For May, the blocks that have been called were Eiffel Quaker, which is has to be finished, so I might bring that out. And Have Ye Any Wool was actually called for May as well, so tick in the box there because I've got one of those done, so it's awesome. So also the ones that have been called that I haven't done anything with on my Whip Go board, as you'll see because it'll be up here in the corner, is Forest Snowfall, Cats, Bats and Witches, Forever and Ever, Beach Cottage Sampler, my 12 Days of Christmas, which is my Maria Diaz. I've still got another 4 stitching days on that to say that that one's done. So that might be a Christmas in July thing. And there's a New Start block because I have 4 New Start blocks on my board. But each one has a 5-day stitching goal. So one of those will get 5 days of stitching to get that block ticked off. And maybe, who knows? We might get something happening. Who knows? It'd be awesome to finish at least a line on that Whip Go board at the end of the year, but we'll see what happens. So, a quick run through of everything else. Daily 30 as the Daily 30 group, which is a closed Facebook group run by Sean McKinney. I have just been tickling along with the challenges. I, to be honest, haven't done as much with that as I normally would do, for various reasons, mainly because the whips I want to work on I can't fit into prompts, and I just haven't worried about doing penalty stitches on them. But I did manage to knock off 1.5 scavenger prompts, which was good, and I've managed to do a couple of prompts on the other ones. I always do the daily 30 prompt and get that done, and if I can, I just put in a couple of extra prompts. Magical Stitches, we're on to Kingdom Keepers Book 3, so I'm just ticking along with those couple of tasks and the monthly one. Enchanted Stitching. So this month they're not doing a movie. So what they've decided to do is just do a whole bunch of monthly tasks. So I'm just going to work through those as I go. Mythological Stitches is back, and May is all about seafaring things. So pirates, mermaids, that sort of stuff. Sirens. So I'm just doing the weekly challenges so far. I did week 1. I've got to think about what I'm going to do for week 2 because that closes tomorrow. The epic challenge, I have finished 3 of them. So I managed to do the Horned God, Artemis and Venus. So they're all done. I used my Goat Load, Father Frost and Forever and Ever for those. So 1,000 stitches on each of those. And Kitty Litter, I've got to bring that back out because I'm using that for the Egyptian god Bast, the cat one. Sane Stitches is this or that is video or board games this month. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for those yet. Around the World is Japan. So at the moment I haven't specifically got anything that I can work on for that other than the 5,000 or anything you want. I've got a Joan Elliott kimono one that I started a couple of years ago, which has only got like about half a dozen stitches in, so I could maybe pull that out, but you've got to do 1,000 stitches, so it's sitting there. I'm not sure yet. We're doing whip whammy. So I got whammed on, well not whammed, but I got hit with 2,200 stitches in my first spin. So I'm slowly still working through those. And it's also Stitchopoly, so I'm just working through those. Nerdapalooza, which is nerdy projects. Well, I haven't really got anything that's nerdy, so I probably won't worry about that one. Literary Journey, I'm still stitching book 3. I'm just over halfway on book 3, so I've done 6,144 stitches against the 10,425 I need. Stitching the Landmarks, I've knocked off Mount Rushmore, and I'm now doing Sydney Opera House. So we're done with that. Alphabet Soup. H was Hollywood Art, I was I Do, and J will be something Joan Elliott. So that's this week. That's it, because Fairy Tale Sale is Cinderella. Yeah, it's not going to get finished. Okay. Ultimate Cross Stitch Group. Now, okay, so this month they decided to do something different in the Ultimate Cross Stitch Group, and they have made you pick. So what they did is they put up 10 photos, and you had to pick 4. In your post you said what the 4 numbers were. They then told you what the stitches were for those 4 numbers. My stitches were 2,900. That's all right. That's doable, isn't it? Yeah, but guess what? You have to pick one project and work on it until it's finished. Luckily, I picked Have Ye Any Wool as the first one because I finished that. I then put I finished that. I then put that stupid country lady's diary thing. Finished that. So those are done. So now I'm just thinking what I'm going to do for my next whip that I can finish. So that's why I'm thinking I'll bring out Goat Load because it's so close to being finished, but we'll see what happens. Or I might just work on Eiffel Quaker for the month and try and get that finished. We'll see what happens. But you're not allowed to use any new starts in this challenge. You have to work on a whip and you have to work on it till it's finished, or until you have completed the number of stitches that you were supposed to complete. And I think even then, when you do your next round, you might have to stay on the same whip. I'm not sure because I haven't completed the stitches yet. Okay, there's a new kid on the block. I don't think it's sort of that new for some people, but it's new for me. So I have joined the Myth and Magic Stitch Wars. Oh, it's fun. I'm a villager. I'm not going to join I don't want to be in a clan because I can't stitch. I'm not power stitcher like some of the people are in those clans. I cannot stitch that number of stitches. But I'm happy to be a villager and stitch 4 ingredients for spells like the Eye of Newt and Bat Wings and Vials of Blood and stuff like that. Sprigs of rosemary and things. So I'm just stitching for ingredients, but it's a great group. It's such fun. So I'm enjoying that one. And that's about it. So I think that's about it. So plans, I won't talk too much about plans because plans all revolve around Stitch Mania. That's in the next video. I have been working on my diamond painting, so I will take a picture and I'll put it somewhere in here. You see my diamond painting. Oops. Before I sign off, I just remembered I was going to talk to you about books. So on my last video, I mentioned that I was doing a Facebook challenge where I had to talk about or show the cover of 10 books that I find fascinating. I at that point had only done the first 2, and I thought I would just quickly show you while I'm talking the other ones. So the first one was on day 1, The Dry by Jane Harper, which you'd already seen, but I'll pop up the picture anyway. And the second one was These Old Shades, which is a Georgetta Hire, and again I had showed you that one. Day 3 was Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. Day 4 was The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. Day 5 was Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. Day 6 was The Natural Way of Things by Charlotte Wood. Day 7, The Alphabet Sisters by Monica McInerney. My timing was out by 1 day because it was Monica's birthday the day before and I should have done it on the day of her birthday, but I didn't. So I was out by 1 day. Day 8 was The Hidden Child by Camilla Lackberg. Day 9, Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. And day 10 was Chocolat by Joanne Harris. So they were the 10 that I chose. They were the hardest 10 things I have ever had to choose. There were so many I didn't add to that list, and when I got to day 10 I did Chocolat. I was tossing up between about 5 books and I had to do a sort of like an eeny, meeny, miny, mo and Chocolat one. And that was it. So I'm not going to tell you anything about those books. But if you haven't read any of them, I would encourage you to try and maybe pick one of them to read. They are all really good books. Some of them, like the Anne McCaffrey book, I haven't read Anne McCaffrey in probably 15, 20 years. But they're all sitting on my bookcase and one day I'm going to read them all again because they're I love her books, absolutely gorgeous books. Every one of those books I would read again, which is partly why I chose them. Some of them I have actually read. These Old Shades I've read about 15 times. The Monica McInerney ones, I just adore her books and will always read her books no matter what she writes. And Camilla Lackberg's another one that I absolutely adore her books and just devour books. There was one other writer that I didn't put on the list because she missed out, and I can't think of her name off the top of my head. It's gone. I'll put it down the bottom because it's completely jumped out of my head. It's gone. She's another Scandi writer and she's absolutely brilliant. I really enjoy her books as well. Oh, it's gonna as soon as I turn the video off I'll remember it. So anyway, I'll put her name down the bottom. So she was one who missed out because at the end when I had to do the last book and she was on the list of the ones to put on there. But yeah, all good books. Encourage you to read any of them. And that was it. So I haven't got any extra haul. I do still have my Jodery fabric that I still haven't showed you, and I'll still hold that until I get some more. I'm hoping to get something soon. Not that I've ordered anything, but there should be some more fabric of the month coming, at least from Jodery and from Colour Cascade at some point. So I'll show you it all in one go. So that's it. So I'm going to sign off this one now. I'm going to tidy up. I will then come back and do my quick Stitch Mania update. So if you don't watch that one, I'll say goodbye to you now and see you on my next whip video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I do hope that you liked my whips, and I'm sure some of them will be back again at some point, and who knows, 1 or 2 might be finished for the next one. So that's it. So till I see you next, whether it's in the next video or the Stitch Mania video, stay safe, happy stitching, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Bye.